Rylan Clark, 34, praised his pal and fellow BBC colleague Scott Mills, 49, who will launch his weekday afternoon show on Radio 2 today. But the Strictly It Takes Two presenters post caused a stir as a social media critic urged to bring back Steve Wright. Social media users flocked to comment on Rylan's initial tweet as they defended Scott and congratulated him on his new role. Rylan shared a photo alongside his co-star as he offered his support to the radio broadcaster just hours before his show debut. He told his 1.7 million followers, "Today my friend at Scott_Mills starts his brand new at Radio 2 show. Not always do people get what they deserve in this industry, but thankfully he has. You deserve the world, Scott, and I'm proud to call you a friend. Always. Good luck, Judith XX." Sick, but not all welcomed the change as one social media critic claimed the BBC no longer catered to people over the age of 50. Twitter user, John, fumed, "Such a pity there's not a single BBC radio station that accommodates the over 50s anymore, not a single one," before adding, "Bring back Steve Wright." It comes after it was announced in July that Scott would replace show regular Steve Wright on BBC Radio 2's afternoon show. DJ Steve announced his weekday afternoon show is to end after more than 20 years. Wright said Radio 2's boss had told him she wanted to do something different with his mid-afternoon slot. Social media users have since rushed to comment on the initial tweet as many offered their support to Scott. James replied, "You've never heard of BBC Radio 3,4,5 or 40 local stations, or listened to other Radio 2 shows, Show Tunes, Sounds of 60s FFS, you've also not heard Scott's new show. What makes you think it's somehow unsuitable for you? Is Ken Bruce only playing rave tunes these days? Sick." Maggie Moo commented, "I'm well over 60 and always have Radio 2 on. They have a good range of music, and yes, there may be the odd one that I don't like, but there's always the volume down option. Maybe try local radio or Magic FM." Rock penned, "I'm over 50, and I love Scott. I stopped listening to Steve, because he wouldn't stop talking over records. What's happened? Millie Bobby Brown confuses fans with accent. Latest Corey's Maureen Lipman can't speak her mind due to cancel culture admission. Madonna gives fans a fright as she unveils sexy zombie transformation pictures. However, others agreed with the initial tweet, as Karen mused, "The only ones I can think of are Sounds of 60s with Tony Blackburn and Johnny Walker on Sunday. Not enough, as lots of us over 50s out there." Famous broadcaster Steve announced he was leaving his popular radio slot earlier this year, with his last radio show being aired on September 30th. His show, named Steve Wright in the Afternoon, attracts many listeners each weekday afternoon. The end of the show is part of a wider shake-up on BBC Radio that has seen many high-profile presenters depart from their established shows. This includes Scott and Chris Stark leaving their BBC Radio 1 show. Steve explained he was leaving the show as his friend and boss Helen Thomas, who is the head of Radio 2, wanted to do something different. He said, "At the beginning of this year, my friend and boss Helen Thomas, head of Radio 2, said she wanted to do something different in the afternoons. Now, I've been doing this program for 24 years at Radio 2, and so how can I possibly complain? The support and creative freedom that I'm given is fantastic at Radio 2, and really I can't hog the slot forever, so let's give somebody else a go." Steve has confirmed he will be staying at the BBC to work on some very exciting, brand new digital projects. Scott Mill's radio show airs weekdays on BBC Radio 2 from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m.